This photo was taken maybe 2 months before.
2 months, September.
2 months before Jenna moved up. So the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation decided to do a marketing campaign, and they used our likeness. So we came down for a photo shoot experience, which actually Jenna really enjoyed. You know, I can remember that day when she was sitting there, you know, and I was looking at my little, 13-year-old girl sitting there and doing the pictures and what have you. And then I was looking at the camera, and it was like, oh my God, this is a beautiful young lady. She was changing from child to young lady right in front of me as it was happening. It was just so amazing.
I had not heard about cystic fibrosis until my son, he's a couple of days old, and he was born with the meconium ileus, and they're like, he has the symptom of cystic fibrosis, and I'm like, I don't understand what that is. And so through testing, through 2 sweat tests, they came back and they said he tested positive. I'm 22, I am very young and naive, and I thought that was a good thing. I thought positive was a good thing, until 7 doctors walked in, and I realized it wasn't a good thing. Even though both our children were born with cystic fibrosis, the expression was very different, and Jenna's was definitely much more severe. And she struggled a lot, and she lived in hospitals for weeks and weeks at a time. And Eric never did. The first 13 years of her life, she lived in a hospital. The first 13 years of his life, he never saw the inside of the hospital unless he was visiting his sister.
I felt like back then things were progressing, but we didn't really understand what was happening. Like he was on enzymes early on, and I remember just being so worried about the number of little granules, because we would have to open the pills and put them on the applesauce, and then I don't know, over a year or 2 later, he got a nebulizer, and we're like, oh my God, it's getting worse, and as things kind of moved along, we didn't seem to have a full big picture of what was going on.
We closed the doors. We didn't want to tell anybody. We said, well, this is our thing, and we didn't want anybody to treat him differently. We didn't want this to define him from day one. So we just shut the doors, and we didn't tell anybody. And then about 10 days in, we're like, that's not us. And when I called the Greater New York chapter to get involved, I didn't know who it was at the moment, but I soon learned that it was Doris Tolson who picked up the phone. Doris Tolson is one of a few parents back in 1955 who began the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation because they refused to believe that their child's life could be limited. I had no hope, none. Our care center did not overly encourage positivity. Doris did.
You know, when we first started volunteering, getting involved, the CF gene had just been found.
Right.
And there was a buzz throughout the community. It was really it was still science that needed to be developed. Today, when we're sitting here, where the correctors and are in people, we are seeing the results.
But interestingly enough, as has been mentioned, that with all this hope and optimism, are that group 90% gonna leaving that 10% like just sitting there? And it's so true. Once it's infectious. If you get the drug, you can't wait to bring everybody past that finish line. It's like the people that cross that finish line run back and get the other people and carry them over. The feeling we get with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation is complete and utter gratitude. And if I keep talking, I will just cry. The gratitude I have for every single person that has ever been involved with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, I am forever indebted to them. Forever.
We know without the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, we would not have had Jenna for 13 years.
We wouldn't have Eric today. And I wouldn't have had Courtney, my daughter-in-law.
Jenna was very charismatic. She had this personality that drew people to her. She still draws people to her.
Still does.
So Eric, his dream was always to not have the first question always be asked, how are you feeling? Right. He just wanted to be Eric. Eric a golfer, Eric a finance guy, Eric a whatever husband. Soon to be, hopefully, we're praying, Eric the father, I think he has a better, even a bigger, broader view of what the future will hold for him.